Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us this evening, May 6, 2015, for the Trade of the Week webinar. My name is Scott Olson. I'm Director of Marketing at Trade Ideas. Trade Ideas has been the leader in real-time market intelligence since 2002. Your host today is our founder and our CEO, Dan Merkin. I will be assisting in answering questions that you type into the question panel during the webinar. If I cannot answer your question, Dan will try to get to your question during the Q&A portion following his presentation. Thanks everyone for joining us. We will also be giving out some promotional money-saving coupon codes later on in the webinar. Dan?
Scott, thank you very much. I want to thank everybody for taking their time in the evening. I'm excited to do this webinar for you because I'm going to really try to do it a lot differently. I want to make it kind of personal, more of a podcast version than just a webinar per se, even though you don't see me. But since it's late in the evening, I decided to pour myself a glass of wine and make sure that I'm able to tell you a story about why you're here and why you should be looking at our technology and probably using it a lot more than you're using. Or if you are already using it, then I'm going to show you even more reasons to use it. So before I really dive in and do the whole disclaimer thing, can you guys, everyone that's on, just let me know how many people are just subscribers versus non-subscribers? And again, the reason I'm asking is that, of course, I would want everybody to be a subscriber. However, I'm going to tailor the presentation depending on what is the level of knowledge of the product. So that kind of helps me to know. And again, there's absolutely no pressure. If you're not a subscriber, that's fine, and you can always continue to catch our Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. That's always going to be for free. And you're always welcome to join these webinars where we tell you a lot more information and just, again, give you insight on our technology. So, okay, I appreciate everybody giving their feedback. As you guys know, Scott Olson will be answering questions, and we're going to take periodic breaks during the presentation where I'm going to show you some promotions and Scott as well. And tonight, I mean, it's going to be some very exciting stuff because, you know, let's face it, it's Thursday and we have wine, so let's have some fun. Okay, so the first thing in having fun is we must tell you the legal mumbo jumbo of the fact that we are not registered investment advisors and you should not take the information provided in this webinar as a solicitation to buy or sell any securities. Please use your own research and talk to a financial analyst before making decisions that could impact you financially. So, with the disclaimer done, for those again that are just trying to get to know us, and I'm going to tell you a story about how Trade Ideas got started. And first of all, just a couple of little interesting tidbits and bits. The gentleman that you that introduced me, Scott Olson, you know, he's not just our director of marketing, but Scott's worked with me for almost over a decade. And this is one of the things that's really exciting to us about being in the space right now, because the media and is what it is that we're doing, although we've been doing it since 2002, so our 13 years. But what's really kind of exciting about it is that before this whole thing got started, myself, the Chief Technology Officer, our COO, we were all working at another company in the 1999-2000 trying to create a brokerage space that really catered to hedge funds. And Scott was on the marketing side of that, and I was the CEO of that. So during this time, during these years, Menlo Ventures invested $50 million into the company. And we, you know, went on a whirlwind. There was the software development overseas. There were board meetings with jets, everything and anything you can imagine. But one of the most important things and why it relates to you being here tonight is that while we were doing that, we got to meet and talk to some of the most powerful and well funded market participants on the planet. And what we found out is that, basically what we found is what isn't important to them. And everything that is kind of like very sensical. There's no magic, okay? Like if they're going to believe in something, they're going to believe it because there's a reason that can be verified. So one of the things that they do, of course, is they do incredible research and pay people for it. So there's this whole relationship building that we never knew existed, but played a big role in how hedge funds function. And then it was the quantitative side where they just ran the numbers and made as much money as they could with the least amount of risk as they could. So you probably have heard of things like quant funds and high frequency trading and things like that. So we got to meet all these people and really engage with them for over 3 years. And again, myself and Scott and the other people at the company, we figured out what it was that was really important to them. And that's what we're bringing to you. And you get a sample of it in the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. So it's for that I'm still on the slide where we're just starting to get recognized as some of the best in class research to give you idea generation that's going to make you more money in the market. That's what we're all about. So today's agenda is going to be all about algorithms. And again, I'm going to offer you guys something so exciting that I could only do it with a glass of wine in hand. So it's going to be fun. Quick introduction again on myself. So before, obviously, how did I get Menlo Ventures to invest $50 million into a company that I started in 2000? Well, in 1996, I was already being recognized as one of the top self-funded traders, for my age group. And here I am on the cover of the Austin Business Journal, which is where I lived. And so I've been in this for a long time. And one of the real exciting things is that in Trade Ideas, what makes this, I think, relate to you, and I kind of touched upon this at one of our earlier webinars today, is that we're not just selling software and all about software. We also run the scenarios that we're creating and testing to make sure that the product is functional. So how do we do that? Well, one of the ways is through what I do. So I invest my own money because, again, I've done that for a living, and I constantly come up with ways to figure out how to use our technology to spot things in a way that can produce me results that are just the kind of results that you don't hear about. Because let's face it, when you give your money to be managed, you're basically just competing with other people that are competing to be average. You're like, how much did I make? Well, I made 3% or 5%. But in the markets, if you let yourself be exposed to it, you get opened up to an opportunity where there's 5% in a day, 10%, sometimes 20%. I'm by no means saying that you can do this every single day, but most people don't realize that it's there. And in the words of the great Wayne Gretzky, who said he never scored a goal that he didn't shoot, you have to take a shot. So that's what it's all about. It's about taking a shot and how do we do it. So here I'm showing you that just May 1st, so a couple of days ago, I realized $16,000 in a 4,500 overnight trade on LinkedIn. Can you do that? Well, probably not, otherwise you would have done it, but that's okay. The point here is not to demonstrate that I'm a genius. I'm not. I just used some skills that I've acquired over the years, and I have great technology. What I try to showcase is that it's possible. Most people don't imagine these numbers, but I'm showing them to you because they are real, and you are here because it interests you. So we're on the same page. Okay? So that's what it's about. I am ready to discuss the way in which I am going to show you how you're going to do better, how you can do better through analyzing numbers. It's really all about seeing things different, and we're going to be giving you that perspective today as I showcase what we bring to the table. So, the next slide. Remember, it's it's an evening webinar, so we try to use humor. But this slide is so good for so many reasons. Again, if you've seen this before, I'm sorry I'm using the same material, but this shows you something that humans do all the time, okay? And what they do is that we have with this thing that's a pattern recognition engine. It's built inside of us. Every single one of us has it, okay? And what it does is it sees something and it tries to fill it in the best way that it can in the shortest amount of time, okay? So as per the title of the slide, this is what you see when you see something like this. But the answer to this puzzle is luck be in the air tonight, okay? And it was about gambling in Las Vegas. So the reason I bring this up is that when you make an investment decision, you speculate. And what Trade Ideas is doing is we're trying to usher in an era where your speculation is based upon the best statistical guesstimate that you can possibly make given everything that is available in terms of data. Now, what does that mean for you? Well, here's what it means. So obviously, at Trade Ideas, we do not have access to insider information, and the people that do are already taking advantage of it in different ways. So we're not talking about that. Also, we do not reside our servers at the exchanges because we're not trying to arbitrage order flow, in microseconds. That's what the high-frequency traders do. No, again, you can't do that. That's not scalable. But how do you take the best logical speculative guess? That's what I'm going to show you today. Okay, and that's what we do every single week when we show you the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. And this time it was TSS. And again, I'm going to discuss that. But before I do, what I want to do is I want to take a quick break before we continue, and I'll tell you more of the story, and then jump into the exciting stuff, which is what I'm going to show you in the actual technology. And I'm going to give Scott a chance to just kind of introduce a couple of the specials that we're running, and then I'm going to give you the real reason to take advantage of them.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. It's something we like to do because you all are taking time out of your busy schedules to come here and attend our webinar and become educated about trade ideas, is give you something back in return. And that's, in this case, it's a discount code for 30% off of order total or your first month of a subscription. So if you decide to try Trade Ideas, and we hope you do, when you select your subscription plan, you can enter the code TOW for Trade of the Week, May 6, all caps, and apply that code to take 30% off the top right away. So you can try our starter month, which is $99 for under 70 for $69.30. The monthly recurring, you can try that for only $52.50 for the first month. Start the Advantage Player for $165.20, or buy the Odds Maker lifetime license for $770. Now, this offer code is good until Friday. You will receive an email with the code after the webinar to make sure you remember it. But the next slide Dan's going to flip to is our best deal. Now, this is absolutely for those of you who understand what a great value Trade Ideas is. A year of Trade Ideas costs $628, and the Odds Maker is $1,100. Optimized strategies are $250. You get all of that for $899. So that is about $2.46 a day. So for about the cost of a medium coffee at Starbucks, a grande coffee at Starbucks, or a tea, you can have Trade Ideas and the Odds Maker helping you decide, make your trading decisions, helping you spot opportunities in the market, for under $3 a day. So go to the bit.ly link that you see on the screen there. That's going to take you directly to a landing page. You can type in bit.ly/
Sorry about that.
$8.99 saver, again, all caps for the saver. And what that will do is take you to a landing page where you can just click through to get that bundle offer together and save a lot of money. I'll go ahead and reiterate this towards the end of the webinar as well. But Dan's going to show you why that's such a good deal now.
Thanks, Scott. And again, we're going to bring this up at the end. I'm going to do more Q&A with everyone, but I am, let's go back to where we were, which is in the air tonight. There's something exciting in the air tonight, and what it is the power of massive computing, which is what we give you for the $2.42 that Scott's talking about. So since most of you guessed the title, okay, what you're doing is you're kind of following the herd instinct, because a lot of people are guessing the same way, okay? And I'm being very general, but the question is you have to ask yourself, well, where in the herd are you, okay? That's a good thing to know, but most people don't, okay? So now that I've kind of talked about the actual, reason for why you're here, what I'm going to get to, and please let me know if you can see my layout. And what you should be seeing is a Trade Ideas layout with a lot of windows that have A in the upper left-hand corner. Please let me know if you can see that well. Okay, so fantastic. You are here, obviously, at least to me, because you would like to possibly be more involved in your finances, possibly manage some of your money more directly, invest, be a self-directed investor. I applaud you for that. You should be doing that. More people should be doing that, because that way better ideas can be spread throughout more people versus just the very, very few who often have access to it. So I created a window. Let's just dive right into it. So I created a window here, and the reason I created it is because Trade Ideas Trade of the Week, I mean, the reason that we're all here is an algorithm. What it does is it searches for stocks that are going to go up for a long period of time going forward. We give this away. This is free. You could make enough money from Trade of the Week to most likely pay for Trade Ideas for many, many years if you followed them directly, or if you were just paying attention to them and did, again, whatever it is that you wanted to do with them. There's enough good information there, and we're going to be very quickly, very soon we're going to provide you the full breakdown of the profit and the losses on the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week since we've started, and yes, they're up. So this is the stock that we feature today, but how did we find it? We found it through an algorithm, and that's what we are in the business now of providing you. An algorithm can be your research assistant in the stock market for life. And why do you need it? Why should you pay me $899 today, or that $2.42? Let me tell you. And again, this is going to be awesome. So I have a window where I'm trying to find stocks. And again, because many of you aren't subscribers, I'm not going to go into the configuration of it. But what I'm showing you is how I come up with what powers Trade Ideas algorithms. And the first thing is I ask a question. This is how you design something. So what I say is I see highs on strong volume. So if I go to TU, so this was a big move today. IPIR, again, another move right there. They're all going to be on highs, okay? And again, and this is 364, and I mentioned this to everybody. My charting does not have every symbol, so I might pull something up and you don't see today's date. It's at 364, which is like somewhere up here. So then BCP, again, highs. So Trade Ideas has this technology that's called the odds maker. And what I'm about to show you is how we design the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week. And it is a tool that should be something that everybody has that's involved in the stock market, because this is how you process information. I right click, I run the odds maker, and I say, okay, I am a doctor or possibly a lawyer, so I don't trade the open. You know, I'm a busy person. Maybe I'll even start an hour after the open. Okay, so I can go like this is like human time. And let's say I don't get into anything at the last hour because on call because I'm a surgeon. This is all real. So if a stock is going up and is on highs, what happens the next day usually? It's an important question because if you invest in it, you would have to know. We simulate the buy and we ask a question. And the reason I'm specifically running through this simulation and watch as it counts to 100 is what I want you to pay attention to is look at these numbers. 6,000, 8,000. Imagine what it is that you would have to do to actually process this many trades and figure out how you did on them. And we are doing it roughly at like 1.5 seconds per percent. Okay, so now we are processing 15,000, over 15,000 trades. As you're watching this and you're seeing the numbers tick away, imagine, again, think about what it would take you to process this data, or what it would take a hedge fund, or what it would take anybody who really wants to know, how do I speculate with the numbers? What does it take? Well, it takes for you to be able to run through approximately, at this point, I mean, we are over 16,000. And it's worth, again, it's worth the count all the way to 100, because the point of this whole exercise is to really solidify in your minds what it is that we're doing different versus what it is that you can do. So we're pushing technology to that next level where we are able to process this gigantic number of trades. And again, we have less than 2% to go, and it is still just, working so hard to try to get through all the information. Because again, it's not easy, even for a computer. So what we're showing you is we have this gigantic server farm in California that all that it does, okay, all that it's working through is this mass mountain of data to try to be able to help us answer the questions of what should you be speculating in and what should you not. Okay, and it's a question that is at the root of everything that you do when it comes to investing. Okay, you need to know that you are investing with the odds. And I'm going to move this, and I'm going to show you, again, it'll be finished in a second, then I'll bring it back up. So this is answering the question, if a stock closes, if a stock is making a new high on an unusual amount of volume, okay, what does it take for me to make money if I'm getting into these stocks? So notice that each one of these things has a timestamp. Okay, so that's quite a bit of information. There's a lot of stuff going on in the market. And again, the reason I'm showing you all of this data is just so that you're aware that in order to find something that's really good, you have to dig through an immense amount of information. Now, the way we do it, which is going back to the slide, is you would look at this. You would look at this chart, you would say, does this look good? I don't know, maybe I'll pass. Does this look good? I don't know, maybe I'll pass. Does this look good? No, that doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. That looks really good. Why? Well, because right now it's above all. This is me talking to you in real time, but that's how you do it. But the problem with that is that even this information, what looks good to you, is very similar to this. Okay, you're just filling that in because in your mind there's this support area here and there's this double bottom here, and you've painted this beautiful picture, but there's no mathematical basis for anything that you're doing. That's the difference. Okay, Whereas with trade ideas, what we've got is the power of large number crunching. So here's what happens, and it should tell you why you simply must have the power of artificial intelligence to be able to guess the best, or in other words, to speculate in the direction of the numbers. Okay, so take a look. So we just processed, again, it took about 3.5 minutes, but we processed 16,000 trades. Of the 16,000 that we processed, 47% were at 0.7 were in our favor, worse than a coin flip, and the average winner was 2 cents less than the average loser. Okay, and you can kind of go back and see, how the days were. Now you can also, rerun this scenario. You can say, okay, well, maybe that one day was too little. Maybe we go for 5 days. You can ask those same questions, do the same things. I'm not going to spend it, I'm not going to let it, well, I'll let it finish in the background while it's doing it. But my point is, now that you know this information, how could you possibly ever look at another chart like, this one, and say, oh, okay, so I should invest in it because it crossed the 20-day moving average. If you ask like somebody who talks about technical analysis, and you ask them, so what do you think about the 20-day moving average? Here's what you're going to hear. Say, oh, that's an important psychological area. And you're like, why? Well, when people often make decisions around the 20-day moving average, see, there's that, but there's no concrete, well, what could you possibly do with it? So do you buy when there's a 200-day moving average? Do you sell when there's a 20-day moving average? So for this presentation, I've ran through the exercises, and what I'm going to do is I am going to show you what it looks like, and it's kind of cool. So again, so here are stocks that in real time are crossing the 20-day moving average. And what I'm going to ask is, what happens 10 days later? Because again, I'm looking at you guys as not day traders or people who are going to be, sitting there in front of the computer all day long trying to, buy Apple or Google or Tesla in and out. What I'm assuming is that you most likely have other jobs and you want to allocate some time and you want to allocate it in the most efficient manner possible. So that's what we're here to do. So I'm using things that you may have heard of, like the 20-day moving average, and I'm going to say, so what happens 10 days later? Is this, if I buy the 20-day moving average, is that a good idea? So here's what we're looking at. So again, it's going through and it's running through quite a bit of data. This equity curve looks a little bit better, but the beauty is that when you join us and when you buy this product, you will be able to do this to any scenario that you come up with. Not only do we do it, but you also have this capability. Anything that we do with the odds maker, you are able to do as well. And by the way, while it's doing this, let me just bring your attention quickly to what happens 10 days after the new high. We ran through 10,900 and 119 to 129. So just buying new highs is not a good idea, even though that's what many people talk about in general. Oh, this is on highs and that's on highs. Again, I'm not saying highs are bad. I'm saying highs alone on volume don't cut the mustard. You need help. You need AI. And that's what we bring to the table. All right, hold on one second. So again, I always make the disclaimer that when I do this stuff and I'm on the Trade Ideas development version, often it does this. It's okay. I'll reopen it and everything will be fine. This way, again, you guys kind of get to see the real deal. So notice Trade Ideas, if something happens and it gets turned off, or in general, you just turn it off, turn it back on. I'm ruining my surprise, but I'll get to it. So guys, the surprise is this. So I created this trade of the week layout. Okay, you don't need this new highs because they don't work. And what I'm showing you is what happens. We're going to run through these real quick. And for anybody who does the 899 today, you get this layout, and I'll explain why. So what happens 10 day after a 20-day? What happens 10 day after a 20-day SMA cross? Okay, it's not bad in general. Okay, not bad, but for me, if I'm looking at this, there's some action here that I don't like, and one of them, and this is again something that we help you with AI, is that although this looks decent and you're at a 57% win rate, it's not bad. 151 to 130, I'd like for this to be a little better. Okay, so without AI, this is what you get. Now, when you ask AI to help, this is what it becomes. And this is what we bring to the table. I mean, you're not going to be running, you don't need to program the algorithm. You can just ask the computer questions. So when you make a guess, or when you make some sort of investment, with Trade Ideas helping you, you are investing with the power of, again, massive computer processing, where we take an event like the 20-day moving average cross, which again is interesting. There's a psychological aspect to it, but by itself you wouldn't be able to trade it. It's again, even if the market is rising, you still will lose enough to where it won't make enough of a of an interesting investment. But here, okay, 295 to 2, 65%. Okay, that's what we're talking about. You completely shift your view to what's working. It's that simple. Okay, let's go to the 200-day. So, and guys, maybe I'll do this right now real quick. Scott, why don't you come in and refresh the promotions while I answer, well, no, I can't. Well, maybe I'll answer some questions, but give them just another quick promotional overview. This way, we can finish sooner than later, and I won't, again, because I'm going to run right through the other stuff real quick, and there's a lot of odds involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as we stated earlier, part of to thank you guys for showing up, we're offering the 30% discount code of TOW for Trade of the Week, May 6th. What you need to do is go to Trade Ideas and select either plans and pricing, and then you can choose the plan you want to pick. And on checkout, just enter capital T, capital O, capital W, MAY6 into the promo box and click apply. That'll take 30% right off the top there. In addition, for those of you who really want to get the best deal possible, we have the $8.99 deal, which comes down to under $3 a day. And so that's an excellent deal. Let me break down how good of a deal this is. If you're paying $75 a month, our standard rate, the $628 standard annual cost is already 30% savings off of our standard monthly rate. So getting a further discount on that and a lifetime oddsmaker license is an outstanding deal. We additionally throw in a customized strategy for you. We charge $250 for those normally. So this is a deal that's worth over, it's close to $2,000 if not over, for $899. So you can get there by going to bit.ly/899saver, saver's all caps, and it'll take you to the landing page where you can click through to buy that combo deal. And within an hour or two following the webinar, if you registered for the webinar and attended, you should receive an email with this information, the links and the code. and a link to a replay of today's webinar so you can watch it again in case you missed anything. Is that enough time for you there, Dan?
That's perfect.
Good, thanks.
Absolutely. Okay, so I just want to stress this one more time because for everybody that's going to be with us, we're adding some incredible functionality very soon to Trade Ideas that's going to be more expensive. And when you join us with the $8.99, you get grandfathered into everything. So typically the way Trade Ideas, well, not typically, the way Trade Ideas works is you get to keep your rates for the most part. Again, unless it's just blatant where you cancel and come back 6 months later, then obviously you're at the new rates. But for this stuff, what we're doing is we're adding a complete artificial intelligence channel, which is going to be somewhat like what you're seeing here. So that's what I'm kind of diving into, and I'm giving you a preview of what's happening with the Trade Ideas and how exciting this is. So remember, we said that when you look at this information, the 20 days is just not good enough. But when you change it and you ask AI for help, it comes up with the proper settings that basically are the most conducive to probability going in your direction. You know, you don't always have to know exactly the why. You just have to know the what's working. Okay. So here, again, we go to the 200-day moving average. It's another time frame that people are familiar with. So let's run the odds maker and say what happens 10 days later. Same scenario, okay? And notice how I say no AI. So you can see that we're just testing what's happening without any artificial intelligence. It's very minimal filtering. There's a minimum price of 1, a maximum price of 500, and a maximum spread of $1. And the reason that, you know, we don't worry too much about the spread when we're providing investment ideas for people who are a little bit longer term, because the spread really shouldn't matter to you. The time frame with which you trade, when you're trading over, you know, 3 or 4 days, the spread is just something that should be completely absorbed by the strategy that you're, you know, that you're working with. So here's another example. We just, without AI, we ran through 1,100 200-day moving average breaks. This all looks good, but that's just because there's a lot of numbers. And even though you're winning almost 59% of the time, look at the winner to loser ratio. That's just called getting cut up, especially on a cycle like this. So when we ask Trade Ideas AI for help, we get a different picture. And this is this one. And wait, hold on a second. Did I just, here it is. Whoops, sorry. It's this one. Run the odds maker. And here you go. Again, what the computer does is it isolates the things that make the strategy work. And you ask it simple questions. And the other thing, too, is remember that when you're working with Trade Ideas, everyone gets access to one-on-one training. So whenever you sign up with, whether it's $8.99 monthly or whatever, we provide you with a training session where we really take you through this and give you the basics of how to, number one, navigate what it is that we have, and number two, take advantage of it. Okay, so here, now is how we take it to the next level. So with the AI, we've transformed a strategy that would have killed you into 52 possible trades, where the average winner is $4.98 versus 156 on the loser. I mean, that's more than 2 to 1. Okay, that's what we're looking for. That's how you gain an edge, not through, oh, this looks like a breakout, but rather, oh, the numbers suggest this is a breakout. Okay, so now let's go about, I did one really to, again, remember that as I'm telling you this stuff, I'm using this also. You know, I played that LinkedIn trade on the option side, and I thought to myself, you know, so many people asked me about it, what I did, and again, I can't disclose everything about that one, but what I did was I said, okay, if a stock is up after earnings, what happens in 5 days? That's a great question, right? Because you don't have to be in it for the overnight risk, but let's say you're just trying to go for what is considered the winner. So is winning after earnings mean anything? So if we run the odds maker and we go 5 days out, here's what we find out. And again, I mean, whenever I show this to everybody, and whenever I kind of get to re-experience it for the first time, because this is like opening a door to a completely different dimension. You know, everyone who uses trade ideas, they are placing numbers-related bets versus people who are just like, oh, this is the color blue. You know, the idea is that nobody knows what the future is. I mean, the future is ultimately unknowable. And whenever people say, oh, I can predict this or I can predict that, that's completely silly. But when it comes to just statistics, right, we can take statistical bets based on large sample sizes. That's the difference between what we do and many other vendors provide to tell you, oh, like, well, how do you trade a moving average system against Dell? Well, here's how you do it. Well, that's not how you really gain an edge, okay? So without AI, here's what you have when a stock is doing well after earnings, okay? By the way, I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, if I'm going to be frank, like, this is a great example of me showing you something that I'm not even doing too much of anything other than configuring the day after earnings part. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, hey, this stock has already reported earnings and it's up 2 days. This is the day after earnings. But you don't have to know how to do that. I can do that for you, or you can ask us. It doesn't matter. So here's a strategy: no AI, day after earnings, 176 to 146. I mean, you know, considering that there's no AI, that's not bad. Not bad at all. But here it is with AI. And I know, like, I talk to people, I mean, they do this for hours because it's just fun. And what we're bringing to the table is a channel where you're never even going to have to do this, where we completely automate this process for you. And this is why you should all be doing the $8.99. So for people that have odds maker access, especially through the $8.99 program that we're offering, you will be grandfathered into the AI channel that we're going to provide, where we're just going to be having layouts that are like this. So imagine for a minute. Use your imagination with me. Okay. So here's the strategy for the earnings with the AI. Again, just what the computer does. So you can go to the calendar, you can see where all the trades took place, how it happened, what did you catch that was awesome. You know, well, here was the one where you caught that ICPT if you trade those kinds of stocks. Remember, the computer, you know, it can let you filter it all based on price and volume, but I'm just asking the basic question, like, well, what's working really well after, or when it's up after earnings? And these are the answers, okay? Yeah, DMDM, URBN. The computer just is good at processing all of this data and helping us to help you. So we've been doing this for almost an hour. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to answer some questions, and here's what I'm telling you. So a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to provide you the Trade Ideas Trade of the Week webinar layout that I created, which is right here. This is going to be available to everybody that joined from tonight's webinar. Okay, so you'll be able to see a lot of different information. Okay. So the question is, okay, so Thomas, we activate the AI ourselves, but here's how it's done. And whenever you run the odds maker, okay? And I'm just going to do a quick run. Hopefully it'll do it quick because it's already been through it. So the question was, how is the AI used, okay? So here's what happens. Come on. Got to finish. So there's a optimization tab, okay? And the optimization tab lets you, start optimizing this already by price, time of day. But then it has a section called Other Filters. So it can basically search through each and every one of these to find out the best ones and what numbers work and which ones are related. So that's the thing that we do on our end, and that's what's going to be powering the AI channel. But we provide you strategies. Certainly for everybody on the $8.99 plan, you get a custom strategy with your purchase, and today you get 3 because I'm giving you this layout. Okay? So for those that are already subscribers, I will give you guys this layout for the price of 1 strategy, the $250. So it's just, we want to expose people to the power of numbers, of number crunching. This is taking it beyond magic. This is taking it to where you can ask the computer the kind of questions that the computer that can give you some idea of what you should be watching. Aside from the fact that you can constantly channel surf, you can take trade ideas and you can see what's going on, what's being talked a lot about on social media, and see how is that, relating. So today, for example, the majority of social media stocks were up, and as I recall, the market, I believe, was down overall. So that's somewhat interesting. That means, let's see here. Yeah, the diamonds were down. So yeah. So these are the kind of things, that you can do with trade ideas that you just can't do with other platforms, But the most important part, the part of why you're here, is for the algorithms. Okay, it's for the stuff that that we did in the background. You don't necessarily need to know how to program everything. That's not what we're here to do. We're not teaching you a class on utilization of trade ideas. We're results oriented. I know that. I know that you guys have other jobs, so I want to create the kind of environment where you can take advantage of it the most. That's why people interact with us. They say, okay, Dan, I have this time of day where I trade, and I have this kind of buying power. What would you recommend? And that's kind of what we do. So the question is, am I using the version that is or isn't available to the public? This version is available to the public except for the charts. So all of this is completely available, but we're adding stuff so quickly, and that's why I'm saying that it really is an incredible opportunity right now to get grandfathered into everything with trade ideas. Because the AI channel is going to cost $99 extra on top of your regular trade idea subscription. So everybody who is with us before we launch it gets it for free. And the charts are also going to make the whole price of trade ideas go up, and that's coming probably by the end of May. So we have we have the rest of May to really get on board and start using this technology for the lowest price possible. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to answer a couple of other questions. The charts, again, are probably end of May. So Veronica, the AI channel is a channel that basically gives people signals that are already done by the computer, okay? And I'm going to give you another example of it. So something like this. So imagine you're seeing something like HABT, and it says, is oversold to the downside. My suggestion is let's get long now and hold for 45 minutes with a 50-cent stop. Something like that, okay? So the computer is just giving you suggestions on what it thinks makes sense. And here's just one for a longer time frame. TSE is ready for a 5-day swing long. So this stock that closed at 24 was one of the signals today for getting long. And this is the AI strategy robot, and it's like pre-alpha. But it's the same technology that's doing this. Absolutely the same. And you get all of that for that $8.99. So it's just this is the ultimate best time to be with us. We're innovators. We've been doing this forever, and again, we compete with chat rooms and gurus, but we have the numbers behind us, and we're really now focusing on letting people be aware of that. Like when someone says, "Hey, I'm going to buy this or I'm going to buy that," you can ask them, "Well, what are the statistics?" And most of the time, you're going to hear nothing. That's the difference. And this information is going to become standard soon, and so the sooner you become acquainted with it, the better off you are going to be. Okay, are there any other questions? Scott, we can do some of that. What I would say is that your specific strategy, probably not, because we don't do EMAs, we do SMAs. But on the liquidity, no problem. And again, the thing is that what you're saying, that's a scenario. We would test it first. We would never trade it unless we knew it worked. Unless you have the back testing capabilities that we have, you wouldn't know that that works all the time. So we're going to do that. So there's no annual. Johnny B asked at $8.99, you get everything for $8.99. There's no annual payment. It's a one-time payment, $8.99. You get trade ideas for free.
I think Dan, I think what Johnny was asking is $8.99 now for the year in the odds maker, and then what does it renew at? It renews at the standard $628 a year.
That's right.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to, which is already a 30% savings off of the standard $75 a month rate.
That's
so
right.
You're getting in at a great deal to get the odds maker and the year. Plus, you get grandfathered in at the $628 a month. I mean, a $628 a year rate, which may actually increase at some point next year with all the extra features.
Yeah, most likely it will. And again, not because we're just randomly raising prices, but we're just pushing the envelope on functionality and what we bring to the table. And again, next year, if you're with us for a year and you go again, you can renew at that $628 rate. But you get all that functionality that you've been grandfathered into, the charting, the AI. I mean, it's awesome. Okay, so Scott, yes. By the way, so a quick question. With trade ideas, just in terms of the software, we track everything, and you can also make symbol lists. So if you like a portfolio, or if you like certain kind of sectors, here I'll switch it out to the sectors page. So you can look at all this stuff, and see what's going on, what's winning, which stocks are in it. You can just create a strategy based on any combination thereof, just a sector, just a symbol list, or just prices. So again, a lot of flexibility there. Scott is going to email everybody. I mean, right? I think as far as I'm concerned, I'm pretty much finished with what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to just really showcase what it looks like when you process lots of data and how we use our technology to go through that data and find out where the odds are. That's what you need to know before you make any trade. What are the odds? And this value just lets you join us, and we're looking for people who are going to be with us for years. And that's what, think about this, guys. You're talking to the CEO of the company, and we've been in business for 13 years. We couldn't do that if we did not have long-term customers.
And I think, and I think our partners, our strategic partners, speak for themselves. We've been inside Scottrade and E-Trade each for at least 8 or more years, and plenty of other partners that we've integrated with and we've had long-term relationships with. And a company doesn't have long-term relationships with the heavy hitters like that unless we're the real deal, and we most certainly are.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do it without providing value. And what we love doing here on this webinar on Wednesday, not Thursday, but obviously my wine started to affect me already, is that it's really our chance to show you what we can do and to give you the opportunity to be with us. Again, you're here. This is your time. Join us for the best rate and just, be the ones that take advantage. That's what we're about. You can take advantage of the rates, and we'll help you take advantage of the markets. So everybody that is with us. I really appreciate it. This layout that I made for this webinar is going to be yours if you join us for the $8.99. And we would follow us on Twitter. I'm gonna here. Whoops. This right here. This is me. I'm active on Twitter, and this is another one of my partners. We have Facebook. We're very open, and our service and the way we are accessible is one of the things that distinguishes us as a technology provider and a service provider. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you and working with you long term.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.